Rising stars Eala, Jovic fall short in Auckland semis. Eala and Jovic fell short of their bid of advancing to the championship round after yielding to Chinese veterans Yifan Su and Zhao Xianyang, 5-7, 3-6, in the ASB Classic in Auckland, New Zealand Friday, January 9. Eala and Jovic fell short of their bid of advancing to the championship round after yielding to Chinese veterans Yifan Su and Zhao Xianyang, 5-7, 3-6, in the ASB Classic in Auckland, New Zealand Friday, January 9. Eala and Jovic delivered a promising start, but the edge on experience of the Chinese pair proved worthy in the semi-final that lasted 1 hour and 26 minutes. Su and Yang have now arranged a title showdown against France's Kristina Mladenovic and China's Han Yugua, who entered the finale via walkover in the semis against Indonesian Janice Tien and American Katie McNally. Eala and Jovic, for their part, exited the doubles category with much lessons highlighted by a stunning win over American Venus Williams and Ukrainian Elena Svitolina, 7-6, 7, 6-1. It was evident that fatigue took a toll on the 20-year-old Eala after coming from a 6-3, 6-2 quarterfinal win over Poland's Magda Linette to book her semis ticket in the ASB singles event just a few hours earlier. Eala and Jovic's mission in Auckland aren't over yet as the emerging stars brace for their respective semis action in the singles where they face China's Xinyu Wang and Svitolina, respectively. A win for the budding netters would set them up an exciting duel for the singles title. Rising stars, pause dreams, Eala and Jovic fall short in Auckland semifinals. The Auckland sky wore its familiar summer blue, stretched wide and patient above the stadium, as if it already knew what the scoreboard would soon confess. Not every ascent is completed in one flight. For Alexandra Eala and Jovic, the semifinals of Auckland were not an ending, but a pause, a sharp inhale before the next climb. They arrived as whispers that had grown into conversations. By the time the tournament reached its penultimate day, those whispers had become expectations. And expectations, like pressure, have weight. The promise before the fall. Rising stars are rarely announced with trumpets. They appear instead in moments, an audacious return struck without fear, a rally extended beyond reason, a teenager refusing to yield to experience. Eala and Jovic had built their Auckland runs on precisely those moments. Eala, composed beyond her years, moved through the draw with the calm precision of someone who understands time is an ally, not an enemy. Her game carried balance, clean footwork, a left-hander's angles, and a maturity that made opponents uncomfortable. Each match felt like a lesson absorbed and immediately applied. Jovic, by contrast, burned with kinetic energy. Her power was unmistakable, her belief even louder. She played as if the court were a canvas meant to be filled boldly, each shot a statement of intent. Watching her, one sensed not just talent, but impatience, the good kind, the kind that refuses to wait quietly for opportunity. Together, they represented the future knocking early. Semifinal silence. But semifinals have a way of demanding more than talent. They ask for endurance of the mind as much as the body. They strip away the romance of a breakthrough run and replace it with a harder question. Can you do this again when everyone expects it? For Eala, the semi-final unfolded like a chess match played against a veteran who had memorized the board. The rallies grew longer, the margins thinner. Where earlier rounds had offered space, this match offered resistance. Every opening closed quickly. Every small error echoed loudly. She fought, not wildly but intelligently, adjusting depth, changing pace, searching for rhythm. Yet the match never fully tilted her way. It was not a collapse, nor a surrender. It was the quiet realization that growth sometimes arrives disguised as defeat. Jovic's semifinal told a different story, louder and more turbulent. Power met counterpunching. Ambition met experience. She swung freely, courageously, but the net is unforgiving, and lines do not bend for bravery alone. The match surged and stalled, moments of brilliance followed by reminders of refinement still to come. When it ended, the applause felt less like celebration and more like acknowledgement. What falling short really means. In tennis, losing is often framed as failure. But for players like Eala and Jovic, this kind of loss is closer to a receipt. It proves they were here, competing on the edge of something bigger. Auckland did not expose their limitations as much as it illuminated their direction. Eala learned what it feels like when opponents refuse to miss, when patience must stretch beyond comfort. Jovic learned how thin the line is between dominance and donation, between power that overwhelms and power that escapes control. These are not lessons taught gently. They are carved into memory. The crowd that saw tomorrow. What mattered most was not the final score, but the feeling in the stands. Fans leaned forward. Coaches took notes. Commentators spoke not of potential in abstract terms, but of timelines. The crowd had seen enough to understand. This was not a fleeting appearance. Rising stars do not always announce themselves by winning titles. Sometimes they announce themselves by making you imagine seeing them again, on bigger courts, under brighter lights, with higher stakes. Eala and Jovic did exactly that. Auckland as a beginning. Every tournament has champions. But some tournaments also have beginnings. Auckland, for these two, was a place where belief hardened into proof. They belonged. Not someday. Their semi-final losses did not close doors. They clarified them. The tour is long. Careers are built in fragments. A quarterfinal here, a semi-final there, a loss that stings just enough to demand improvement. The great ones remember these matches, not with bitterness, but with gratitude. Because this is where the future stops being imagined and starts being earned. As the sun dipped lower over Auckland and the courts prepared for another final, Eala and Jovic walked off carrying something heavier than disappointment.